Hey, it's time for episode 6 for the Eternal Idols, and this week I'll be talking about what many claim to be the heaviest Black Sabbath album ever, Sabotage. Sabotage, here it is. Look at this album cover. It's almost a cool album cover. Other than look at Bill Ward, man. What the fuck's he wearing? Well, he claimed in an interview those are his white tights. You can't really make it out on this right here, but he's supposedly wearing Ozzy's underwear, the checker underwear. You can make it out better if you look at the actual album. And Ozzy was completely naked. So he wore this robe and, I don't know, his kimono or something. It looks pretty cool, but, you know, Bill Ward kind of ruins this album cover with his stupid pants. But other than that, it's kind of freaky. You see the reflection behind them is actually a front view of them. You know, it should be the back. So it's kind of freaky, man. Anyway, this is the album cover of Sabotage. Now let's get into Sabotage with the first track, Hole in the Sky. Check out this footage, man. This is like I know I used some of this before on Volume 4, but this is really Sabotage era from the Don Kirshner rock concert. And check out the guy in the striped shirt. You see, he just took a hit of a joint. He's about to cough. And also, if you look closely, I believe this guy is Buck Dharma from Boys to Cult. Fucking looks like him. I think it is him. Not quite sure what these lyrics are about. Geezer's like all over the place on this. Hole in the Sky could it mean, I don't know, a prophet? Like talking about the ozone layer? But he says hole in the sky, gateway to heaven. And he also says something like he doesn't believe there's any future in cars. Well, it's 2011 and my car's downstairs all fucked up. Still got the same problems it had back in '74 when this was released, and I didn't touch into that. And I believe it was '75. This is the longest album it took them to record. They started in early '75, and it didn't come out till June of '75. And a side note, the opening band on the Sabotage tour was Kiss, and it was cut short because Ozzy Osbourne had a motorcycle accident. And they had to postpone the rest of the tour, as far as I know. And that's Hole in the Sky. And then it's abruptly cut into this. It's called Don't Stop, Too Late. And not much I can say. It's pretty cool. It's very short. It's Tony Iommi and it rules. And then it goes into what I consider and what many others consider probably the first thrash song. Symptom of the Universe. A fucking classic, probably the heaviest song on here, fastest, and it just smokes, man, and it's kind of has love song lyrics about like being in love with some chick and just cruising the cosmos with her, man, and banging her in the Milky Way, putting a little Milky Way on her face like they did to your mom. So I love this song, man. It's really heavy, and what I really love about this song, it's just crushing, man. It's got this riff, that crunchy riff that the Bay Area made famous, like Metallica, the crunchy thrash riff, man, and a lot of people say this is the first thrash song. It has a lot of the thrash energy, the thrash riff, and it's fast, it's crushing, very original for its time. I don't think there was any song this crunchy back then. What I really love about this song was the way it ends, it goes into like this really psychedelic shit that they never performed live. Every time they would play Symptom of the Universe back in the 70s, they would just end it right before the freaky hippie little, you know, mother child of love's creation, come and step inside my dream. I just love that whole thing, man. So, you know, almost my favorite part of the song, but I don't know, there's too many cool parts so I can say it's my favorite. But I love Symptom of the Universe, man. It takes a couple twists and turns. It's real heavy, and then it ends kind of like spacey mellow, man. Symptom of the Universe, a fucking classic. I would have to say this would be my favorite song on the album. And, you know, one of my favorite, I'd say my second favorite all-time Black Sabbath song, Megalomania. It's a very trippy song. It's pretty much, I don't know what the hell it's about. There's a lot of, I interpret it as, you know, just fame, I guess, you know, and, but then, you know, it's kind of like the opposite of Symptom of the Universe. You know, it starts off mellow, and it gets real heavy, and man, this album I would have to say is the strongest Ozzy Osbourne vocals on this album. I mean, he is just ripping his throat apart, and this song, you know, it just takes a lot of twists and turns, and I love the hell out of it, man. I love when he goes, "Suck me! Suck me!" That's Megalomania, so it's time to flip the album around, you old motherfuckers. The Thrill of It All, another one of these geezer pen lyric songs that's, I don't know, it's kind of like religious. Won't you help me, Mr. Jesus? Won't you help me understand? You know, another confusing, Geezer's very confused with religion, you know? He wants to believe, but man, there's so many, just like the rest of us, man, that are kind of like, is there really a God, man? And this song pretty much nails it. You know, Geezer has touched upon this before, and again, you know, he's touching on it again, and I love the riff of Thrill of It All. It's just a killer riff, and I love the melodies that only Ozzy Osbourne can come up with, and it's an underrated classic, and I would have to say this album, Sabotage, is probably the most underrated of the original lineup catalog. Supertzar. Now I'm going to explain this, and I'm going to try to do the rest of the show without me saying, I bet you I can't do it. Anyway, so this is Supertzar, the very first instrumental that Black Sabbath put on an album that's not just an acoustic piece. And it's really eerie, and I heard this podcast not too long ago that had an interview with Bill Ward where he talked about this song, where he heard Tony Iommi like tuning his guitar, just fucking around with his guitar, and he came up with that opening riff. And Bill Ward said, hey, you know, that's really cool. You got to do something with that. And then it just grew into this monster that they got a choir, and they made it very eerie, and it's really cool. Like, I'm trying not to say the UMM word. It's just a very eerie thing, very Black Sabbath. And when they recorded this from there forward, that was the intro tape that they used on the Sabotage tour, Technical Ecstasy, Never Say Die, and even Heaven and Hell had this song as the intro before the band came out, Supertzar. Am I Going Insane Radio? A lot of people think that this song, they put radio on in parentheses. I said anyway, so it has the radio on there, so a lot of people think it's the single, which I believe it was the single, and but it was, I said again. they put radio on there, but not because they wanted it to be on the radio. What it really meant was Geezer used to do a play on words with radio rental instead of mental, since it rhymes with mental. So they just called it Am I Going Insane Radio, but it really meant Am I Going Insane Mental. Anyway, I believe Ozzy wrote this song. He wrote the lyrics to this song. It's different, it's weird for this album because this album's just so fucking heavy, and then this song is like no other Black Sabbath song, where it's not really a riff that's carrying this song. It's more like keyboard as shit. It's kind of odd. It's an odd song, and very odd that this is the only song that represents Sabotage on their greatest hits album, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll, that I'm pretty sure was released by the record company, and the record company picked the songs that would be on there, and they put this one on there to represent Sabotage. Very odd choice, but what's cool about this song is that it's Black Sabbath. That's what's cool about it. But also what's cool about it is how it ends. It ends like very fucking weird, man. It ends with some laughing, like and then it, like from some laughing to some like real evil dark screaming. And that goes into the last song on this album, a fucking epic to end the fucking album, The Writ. Alright, Ozzy haters out there, if you like this song, I hate to break it to you. Ozzy wrote the lyrics to this one. And this song is about like their previous management company that like really ripped them off a lot. There's even talk that I read somewhere that I believe I read this on black-sabbath.com in their facts section. Check it out, because there's a lot of cool little facts in there. That somebody actually came on stage and gave Ozzy something called a writ. A writ is something like a legal mumbo jumbo legal form they gave him on stage, and they sued him. And Ozzy wrote this song about those weasels, those bloodsuckers that fucked him over back in the day. And it's a real fucked up song, man. It's very angry. Ozzy's vocals are just stronger than they've ever been. And it's a great song, which again, like Megalomania, it's very long, and it takes all these weird twisted turns with, you know, it's like very heavy and very dark and painful, and then it goes into some like I don't know, almost like fairy type music, and Ozzy like singing his ass off still during that part, you know. It's just a great song. I love The Writ, man. I'm not done with Sabotage, because Sabotage, for the people that had it way back in the 70s, the first pressing of Sabotage, after The Writ ended, that was the end of the album for us now. But back then, there used to be a little tiny bonus track at the very end called Blow the Jug.
Everybody come on, blow the jug. Be like me, I'm blowing a jug.
Blowing the Jug is Bill Ward on the piano and Ozzy just singing. I actually think it's Bill Ward singing. And I think Ozzy and Bill are both singing on it. It's Bill on the piano. It wasn't supposed to be on the album. It was just them fucking around in the studio, and somehow it ended up on the album. And Bill Ward even said on that podcast I heard the other day, he was like, oh man, they put this shit on here? That's just us fucking around in the studio. How'd that make it on here? Well, it was a hidden track. Once the Writ was done, that popped up at the very end. And that's it, man. That's the end of my favorite Black Sabbath album, Sabotage. But then again, my favorite Black Sabbath album is also Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and Volume 4, and Master Reality, and the first one. And then Paranoid is somewhere under there, but goddamn, Paranoid fucking rules. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with, I know I'm very predictable, right? I had somebody the other day send me a little message saying, you know, the whole my mom fucking Black Sabbath was a little amusing, you know, but now it's a little played out. Well, for you, I just have to say, your mama